Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah.
The views and opinions expressed by the guest and presenters of Radio Al Ansar are not necessarily the views and opinions of Radio Al Ansar and the Al Ansar Foundation.
Every student can learn, just not on the same day or the same way. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Education's purpose is to replace an empty mind with an opened one.
Join Sumaya Khan every Tuesdays between 7 and 8 p.m. for an educational evening exclusive to Radio Al Ansar.
Your education is a dress rehearsal for a life that is yours to lead. Every student can learn, just not on the same day or the same way. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Education's purpose is to replace an empty mind with an opened one.
Join Sumaya Khan every Tuesdays between 7 and 8 p.m. for an educational evening exclusive to Radio Al Ansar.
Your education is a dress rehearsal for a life that is yours to lead.
Subhanallah walhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. Subhanallah walhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. You can say it once or 100 times or more. You feel a peace inside and it'll open every door. That's the power of remembering Allah. It's the best way to purify your heart. Know you will be loved by the merciful one.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to School Matters with me, Sumaya Khan. Yes, your host and producer of this much anticipated program. We are in the second school term with our educators busy and learners for their mid-year exams or control test. Well, today we have a very interesting topic, something which everyone thinks about. Stand up for what you believe in, even if it means standing alone. This shows others how you are as a person. Sticking to what you believe is better than other people deciding for you. What your heart tells you. I'm sure we've all been there before. You're in a group of people and someone says something that you don't agree with. Maybe it's a joke that's in bad taste, or maybe it's an opinion that you think is wrong. Well, either way, you speak up and then everyone starts laughing at you or disagreeing with you. Or worse, they ignore you completely and act like you never said anything at all. It feels terrible, doesn't it? Like you're the only one in the world who believes what you believe. But the truth is you're not alone. There are always going to be people who disagree with you, no matter what your beliefs are. And that is okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's essential for a healthy society. We need people with different opinions and perspectives to challenge each other and push each other to grow. We need to instill this in our youth, our teenagers, and even our little ones. Well, everyone is completely different. But of course, that doesn't make it any easier to speak up when you know you're going to be the lone voice of dissent. It can be tempting to just stay quiet and go along with the crowd or with the flow, especially if your beliefs are the minority opinions. But it's important to stand up for what you believe in, even if it means standing alone. Here's why. Silence is compliance, By speaking up, you might inspire others to do the same. Staying silent won't make the problem go away. Stand up and speak out. Some of us as adults still battle with this, because we are fearful of our managers, our bosses, losing your job, being victimized. So we just keep quiet. But we know in our hearts that is wrong and we are right. Well, with peer pressure, our children tend to follow the latest culture trends, even if they are toxic and unhealthy. We need to instill in our youth to be good and do good, even if it means standing alone. Well, it's a very interesting topic, and my guest came up with this. This is something which is the current trend in schools, especially high schools. Well, our guest, everyone knows who she is, Veronika Slabbert. Welcome back to School Matters.
Hello, Sumaya. Hello, listeners. Good evening.
How are
everybody.
you?
I'm all good, thank you.
Busy marking control tests, exams?
No, preparing for the exams.
Okay.
It's a couple of weeks before the June exams start. This term is very short. I don't know if you've seen that. Normally we start exams after the 16th of June. This time we break up before the 16th of June.
No, it's pressure's on.
The pressure is seriously on us.
And especially you guys, you all need to produce results.
Yes, the department is very results-based driven at the moment. After we came second in the country last year.
Wow. George Campbell.
No. The KZN.
Oh, okay.
KZN came second last year, and in the end of the day, now they want to come first, in the country next year. So. We are told that we have to work hard, and we've got to work on people that are not producing the marks, and do every bit of remedial intervention to try and support education and learning.
Today I was at a union meeting, and colleagues and friends of ours, or comrades may I say, were all stressing because they had visits from DBE.
Yes.
Pitching in to see procedure, are they doing the right thing? So tensions are quite high.
Yes. No, the pressure's on. I think they are very serious. It's pretty much, I think, like in any educator who is trying to get 100% pass rate in any classroom, that you apply pressure on your learners. So I think the department is applying pressure on educators.
It's like a ripple effect.
A ripple effect. There we go. Yeah. So that's pretty much what it's about. But it's good. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
And you've got to be awake all the time.
Well, that's the life of a teacher.
Oh, yes.
Never ever ends. Today's topic, I love it because we know as adults, when you tend to speak the truth and what you feel, you are not likened, you are called a big mouth, but it's better to just speak the truth. And even if you have to stand alone, it's easy saying it, but it's very difficult. In meetings, in workshops, all your colleagues feel the same as you, but they're a bit afraid to speak up, and you are the brave one to speak up. And there you go, victimization, you're the leader of the pack, blah, 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 blah. In any institution, organization, business.
How dare you? How dare you say that?
And, it's now looking at our youth, our children, our teenagers, they are our future leaders. Now, the way society is going, where everyone is sheep, they just go along, we need our children to do the right thing and think of the right thing and stand for what is the right thing. So we can make that change, but it's not easy.
I think quite often we as educators need to lead by example, in the classroom, by being innovative, by taking charge, and by bringing forth ideas, and even sometimes if that idea that you're using doesn't change anything, you are still putting your real unique self out there. And the more you do it, the more you will come out, you as an individual. And by asserting yourself, you are actively taking charge of your life. And I think that is quite inspirational to learners who can say, but I've watched this teacher. I remember when I was at school, there were 3 teachers. They were brothers and sisters and a wife, and they did reviews, musical reviews at our school. And they were the source, the beginning of these reviews that very much, because I come from an Afrikaans school, took Durban by storm at one stage, and a lot of the Afrikaans schools did musical reviews. Port Natal took over from them when they moved. They moved to Port
After
Natal.
so long, I'm hearing that Port Natal.
Yes, and so they were just strong, and they just led by example, and other people followed. And it was so great to see that.
When you think about it, listeners, these are our views and opinions. It's nothing's cast in stone. The way our country is going, society is going, no one really looks at morals, values, ethics.
Because everything goes.
Yeah, everything goes. It's just about material things, your status, and being influential, and being the person who, how many likes you got, and all of that. But we need to teach our children to do what is right, not only for you, for the person next to you, for your neighbor, for your community, for wherever you belong to. And maybe within time, we can change what is wrong. It sounds like a miracle we're asking, but we can make positive changes.
I think one needs to just stay objective, and not become emotional and involved in this whole thing, because sometimes to try and change somebody else's mindset is very, very difficult. And especially if you're the only one who sees X and everybody else sees Y, or is prone to take Y's initiative because Y is most probably the leader or threatening or whatever, then it you can become quite demotivated in that whole concept. And I just think avoid the emotional side of that. Is it worth my fight? Am I fighting this fight? Is it worth it? And in the end of the day, if these, I think you and I both, and I think any person in their life has somewhere in their life had to stand up for something. And maybe just a woman that's maybe being subjected to abuse, or a child that's being touched inappropriately, all those kind of things. And I think that they have the power to stand up and say, no, I'm walking away from that. Because many people are so fearful of leaving that relationship because of rejection, family, but you must have been the cause for this, and you must have, taunted this person or motivated this person to do X, Y, and Z, because it's never the other person, and you take the blame for it. And then the family rejection or friends rejection or whatever, or just the total rejection of people. I think for many people, they'd rather not say anything and just be silent partners in the group, whether they agree with it or not.
There's a saying goes, if you keep quiet for injustice, you are also doing injustice, if you know there's something wrong.
But you're so wanting, I see so many girls that are wanting to be part of a group. I watched a video a little while back where a gogo went and took her grandchild out of a dance. This child was supposed to be at some church service, and she wasn't. She was at a party. And this granny, when she got to this place of worship where it was, she realized that, and then some of the children said, no, but your granddaughter's gone to the party. She walked into the party, took the girl by her hand, walked out with the girl, much to the shouting and cheering of the young people and booing of the young people. But she kept on walking, with the granddaughter had this little short skirt on, and I don't know if she's been drinking. You couldn't pick that up from the video, but you see the gogo walking out with this young girl, and the crowd is chirping her and is slandering, and party, pooper, blah, 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 all those kind of things. And I thought 10 out of 10 for that lady to stand up and say, I'm fetching my child.
But when you look at it, the way we grew up, and it took a whole village to raise.
Yes.
And even everyone played on the streets. The auntie next door shouted you if you broke mangoes.
She sometimes even walloped you.
Yeah. And you never ever complained to your mom. No mom went fighting with that lady. It's like everyone took care of everyone's children. You know, they checked on them, supported each other. I don't need to know the neighbor down the road, but I know that lady always checks that the children are not going too far. But now it's like totally different.
You know, now
Different
the
culture.
challenge of the parents towards the teachers, they don't believe the children, the teachers.
Teacher's wrong.
The teacher's wrong. You know, and you have to stand up and you have to stick to your guns. You know, otherwise, you know, this parent will just take you down or threaten to take you to the department because you're not doing what it is that they want you to do. And how can my child do so poorly? It must be your fault. What are you doing wrong? You know? And so it's very, very difficult, you know, to be able to stand up there for yourself and say, this is what I'm doing.
Standing up for what you believe in, you know, and speaking out. It applies to so many aspects in everyone's life. If you're looking at a teenager, a school going, it's peer pressure, the drugs, you know, the ills of society. There's academics, there's your personal life, your psychosocial practice. So if we can instill that as parents, as educators, where we can encourage our children to stand up.
It's too difficult.
Too difficult.
I'm telling you now, today's norms and values and standards are not in line with what we as parents, it's very difficult.
But yet our children stand up and speak up for things which are not important, things which are not for the good.
You know, I think it depends, you know, I'm generalizing here now, but I'm telling you that quite often a lot of the parents are not even aware of what their children are doing. And I always say, you know, we had a parents' evening a little while back, and some of the parents were saying, but my child didn't do this, I said, but did you see what your child has actually done? Look at this.
Yeah.
I think you need to go buy your child a milkshake. I always say, go buy your child a milkshake and say thank you that your marks are looking like they are, because there are many learners whose marks don't look like this. You know, so I think parents quite often need to stand up there as well and say to their children, thank you, you know, and stick to those rules. If the parents are applying rules and they're having problems at home, which I'm sure is happening. I remember as a teenager, at times I was quite rebellious. I wanted to go out and everybody else was going out. Everyone was doing this, you know.
But you couldn't.
And I couldn't. And or this one had that and I didn't have this, you know, that pressure. There's always this pressure. And I think in today's life where everything is now phones and everything is social media, I think the pressure for parents is so much more greater than it was than when we grew up, you know, and then there was just a newspaper that sort of you could take information from.
Exactly. You know, being a parent today is not easy. You know, we don't know what our children do when they're not with us.
No,
we don't know. You know, sometimes parents find out a bit too late when the child is really soaked into something which is not good. And if our child could, you know, decipher or could stand up and say no to peer pressure or no to something, maybe they could have been saved. But again, it's not so easy.
It's not. And, you know, quite often, and I've dealt with quite a few of these cases where I've had interviews with parents and then I hear the parents cry for help, you know, where the child is standing up and say, I will do what I'm doing. You have no control. You know, I'm now in control. And where this, because that's the other side now, you know, of standing up for what you believe in. These kids now are standing up and saying, but I want to go out with my friends and I will go out with my friends. And then what do the parents do if the child is bunking school all the time? How do you can't lock them up, you know, that'll
child
be
abuse.
That will be child abuse. So there's both sides of this now, because now these children also stand up for what they believe in, you know, because they think they're right. And they don't have the knowledge or the experience to understand that they're not right, but they think that they are. But that's also adolescence and social media. And
you know,
friends.
I don't know whether you came up, I mean, you were exposed to funny stories being an educator, but I know I experienced some. a couple of years ago, there was a child who was a bit like really rebellious, naughty, and the parent came to school to say that I was locked up in jail for 1 day because he phoned the police. I gave him a slap because I caught him smoking. It's like a 9-year story. Now look at that. The father couldn't get over that my child phoned the police and I was locked up. I was disciplining my child.
That's it. The roles are reversed. The children aren't taking a stand, But I think, I talk as a parent as well, but I must say my child's now all grown up. But I think we need, as long as our rules and stuff are consistent, as long as we are true to ourselves.
Yeah.
And we don't chop and change every 5 minutes. And then we like this, and then we sit on the left side, and then we sit on the right side.
And then we're on the fence.
And then we're on the fence. As long as we're true to ourselves, and people can say, but I know this is what you stand for, and I know that you stand for truth. And quite often when you see a scenario and you walk in and you're trying to protect or go in as a mediator, you are being shot because you're now the media, you're the messenger kind of shit. So it is very difficult to stand up and say, but, and also quite often it is very difficult to make your point stand. Like I like pink and you like blue, so how are we going to get to that one? Because I do think this couch needs to be blue, pink, and you want the couch to be blue, and then how are we going to mediate that? And that is very difficult. So, take small, powerful steps, and little bit, give a bit, take a bit, give a bit, take a bit.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. It's not easy to have a strong personality because you are seen as overpowering.
Do lots of us as adults, we're not so strong personalities growing up. Either experience, trauma,
Yes.
wisdom, age, something changed and you speak up,
Hardship. Sometimes hardship.
Hardship, huh?
Sometimes hardship.
And, we also need to tell our children, speak up, because we don't know when we're looking, as I said, the topic is so broad. When we're looking today, domestic violence, child trafficking, sexual abuse, children are afraid to talk. Teenagers are afraid to talk due to reputation. Parents are even afraid to let anyone know or seek help. But especially our girl child, I know it applies to the male children, but especially the girl child, we need to instill that, I'll say, power to be able to stand up and say that's wrong and it needs to stop.
I think that's what's nice for me is being in the technology field, as a woman. It's been a struggle, if I can speak for myself, always having to prove yourself, as a female, and yet I'm quite highly qualified. And somebody now the other day said to me, because I have a master's degree, and they said, oh, but that's a girly qualification. You don't have like an engineering degree, and I said, be careful what you're saying, be careful. And I was very adamant to say, be careful.
Since you're mentioning that, people are also very unfair when it comes to work situations because you're a female.
Yes.
Yet you are just as good in your work as your male colleague.
If you are assertive, if a male person, a man, was doing what you were doing, they would be seen as innovative and they are progressive. You do it, you are seen as a complete negative person.
In the education department and even the manifesto of Cyril Ramaphosa, the ANC, one of them is where a female, if they have the strength, they should lead and be in positions because they want to uplift the woman. And so even the basic Minister of Education for our province and even national, if a woman is good as a male, she should be put in that position.
Does it happen though?
But, I experienced this, and I'm saying this on air, where I know I'm good. I know I performed well. Maybe because I'm not likened, or maybe it's the way I smile, the way I smell, the way I dress, or I'm not a male. So it will not be given to you, it will be given to the male. But yet, when you look at the woman, she's more disciplinarian. She can hold her stuff. She can control. And we look at the male counterpart, he can't do none of that.
And she's also very nurturing,
Exactly.
And listen, by no means am I running any of my male counterparts down at all. I mean, I work with them, and I cannot work without them. And I do think it's a team effort.
Yeah.
Everything is a team effort. And quite often they stand up strong, and then I will support them.
Do you know, since you're mentioning this, when I was pregnant, I was holding a position. And I remember, I don't know what, I'm going back now, I don't know what made me not show my pregnancy. I wore a very loose top because I had a labor issue to go and resolve as an activist and unionist. Because the men tend to look at you as weak. Oh, there's this person now representing someone. She's all pregnant. Oh, shame. She's weak. And you know,
got to go home and look
when
after
I
the
spoke
children.
to other colleagues, they said they have experienced similar things when they were pregnant or going through a menstrual cycle. They were also, or they were not acknowledged. They were either victimized or something negative on that.
Chirped,
Well,
yeah.
chirped. Listeners, we'll be taking a short ad break.
You're listening to School Matters with Sumaya Khan.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031-306-4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust. Advertising pays. Get your business on the map through advertising with Radio Al Ansar, the station with a proven record. Let's talk to Zain of The Watch Doctor, a newcomer in the market.
I'll recommend advertising on Radio Al Ansar for sure, as my client base has increased substantially, totally unexpected.
There you have it. Join the airwaves and take it up to another level. Call us on 031-208-1601 and ask for Fatima Shahina or Faraz Bucks, our consultants. Let your name be heard by thousands of people. Radio Al Ansar, your partner in business.
Join us at Radio Al Ansar for the Green Thumbs Up Bonsai and Orchid Exhibition on the 5th of May at 207 West Road Conference Centre.
Hey, bonsai!
Dive into the world of beautiful bonsais and orchids and place your vote for the People's Choice Award. Bring your seeds and plants for swapping and enjoy demos on bonsai, orchids, healings and more. 8:30 to 1 p.m. 5th of May. See you there.
In South Africa, countless numbers of sick patients leave their homes at the crack of dawn to join long queues at clinics and public hospitals, many of them suffering pangs of hunger in addition to the symptoms of disease. The Al Imdad Foundation's Slice for Life teams deliver sandwiches to these patients at more than 40 hospitals and clinics across the country. Help us to keep on relieving hunger. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
You're listening to School Matters with Sumaya Khan.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to School Matters. Yes, our topic this evening, stand up for what you believe in, even if it means standing alone. This shows others how you are as a person. You know, stand up for what you believe. Stand up for what is right, what is correct. If you go to the Quran and other religious scriptures, they tell you, stand alone. If you look at all our prophets, they stood alone, Veronika.
Yes.
They all stood alone. They had no support, but they continued and they achieved and strived. Well, you know, we were talking about children. We were talking about the female child. You know, we need to teach them to speak up and stand for what is the truth. You know, adults also experience this, as we were talking.
Yes.
Adults, but why are we so afraid? No, I wouldn't say afraid to stand up and say, what you're saying is crap, oh, that's totally lies.
Or I don't agree with you. Yeah.
Or I don't agree with you. But they just keep quiet, and after they're just, corridor talks. But why don't you speak up? Why don't you speak up? But then, you know what? If they were taught or they heard School Matters when they were small, maybe they would have thought of the show and let me speak up.
Oh, no. Quite often when I say, like, why didn't you say something? Well, you know what? I don't want to offend this. I wasn't quite sure about this, those kind of things. I get so frustrated when you're trying to everybody talks about a situation. And then when you stand up and you suggest it, and then you don't have that backup.
And then you have those who are on the fence, they're here and they're everywhere. But if you really, really, I wouldn't say strong person, believe in something, then stand up for it, stand alone. You don't need, and you don't know, you might be encouraging the next person.
Yeah, I think if we look at a lot of our liberal leaders in the past, just our history, and you look at how they've stood up, and
jailed
and everything, and you think what sacrifices they went through and what they paid. I don't know sometimes that the lifestyle that we're living now, I don't think half of the people would be able to cope with jail and go through what they
sacrifice their families,
and stuff like that. I think it's you rather, because you're protecting your family. Oh, I'm protecting my family. I need to protect my children. I need to protect my home. Those kind of things. I can't say this because I'm going to be victimized if I say X, Y, and Z, and so forth and so forth. And eventually, I think quietly we admire the person that is standing up, but quite often people don't say that, and you do go, yes, I agree with what you're saying. I just don't have the courage to stand next to you. And I think that is quite often, I also see, I see, and I'm going to say this, you see these naughty children applying for prefectship, and then you look at them and sometimes you think, sure, can they, will they, and you've got to now sort of be very careful with your judgment, because now suddenly they're standing up, and yet the reputation is one that doubts you, you think, oh, should, no, I don't know, will they not? Will they go back to their ways? Will they be able to stand up against their peers, and for example, that's for example a very, very good example where prefects have to stand up against their peers, and that quite often that they are scared of their peers, especially in the high school, where the peer will say, I'll meet you in the field, or I'll meet you in the park, you split on me, I will meet you in the park, or you will have a problem somewhere, that kind of thing. So even from that point of view, standing up for yourself is very, very difficult. And I think that is already for maybe in the primary school. I'm not so sure if it's that eminent in a primary school as what it is in a high school, where prefects have to stand up against their peers.
I think lots of educators will vouch for this. If there's a fight, everyone is scared to talk, even though they know who is the culprit. If someone stole something from a class and you know who stole it, everyone keeps quiet. So it starts from then,
Sometimes they'd come and tell you privately.
Yeah. They'll do that. And, you have children even bring things to sell in school. They're not allowed to sell.
Yes.
And everyone does want to say who's selling the chips or the sweets or the lollipops.
You see the people walk with suckers, and the tuck shop doesn't sell suckers,
Yeah.
No, I bought it across the road. No, you didn't. That's
so. So they need to stand up. Courage. We need to give them the courage in the right way. In how can I put it? Empower them, but for the betterment of them and society, and their community.
And I just think truth. You know,
truth is a rare commodity, Veronika. Truth doesn't exist anymore.
No, it does. It does.
The truthful has to keep quiet, and the liar progresses.
No. I don't agree with you on that one. No. I'll arm wrestle you on that one. And I win. I still believe in truth. I still believe in that. I do think that like if you catch a kid cheating, no, I didn't cheat. Yes,
and what you do when you catch an adult cheating?
I just saw the crib note. No, I did not cheat. And they will argue with you till they're like blue in the face, and for them then eventually to admit, or in ours they've got to do a computer drawing, their own computer drawing of an electronic circuit. So what I do is I take it up in the sky, because now I can sort of, the circuits, and you sort of remember that you've seen this one before, and then I flip it. I say, wait, I remember this drawing. Then I go and I flip the other one, and then they're exactly the same. And then by the third and the fourth one, then I say, okay, whose was the original drawer of this? Who drew this? Oh, I did, ma'am. Okay, so the rest goes into the bin. You've got to do your own work. I'm not marking, or I'm not marking Google, those kind of things. And I think that is also that standing up for yourself, but because maybe the kids were lazy, they were lazy. They didn't want to do the work, they didn't have the time. I sit quite often and then I say to a learner, why are you late for school? No, I had to go and take my baby brother to school. Or, or my baby sister. I first got to go to the primary school and then come to school. So we're not always aware of their challenges that they have. And then quite often some of them just won't admit that is their job, and then it's forcing them to stand up and say, but this is what I'm doing, so that you have an understanding for that, so it's very difficult to teach the children to be able to stand up and not always wanting to hide, because I think in many of the learners' situations, it's to hide their own shortcomings in their home, because they feel that their homes don't match their peers, because the peer talks about, we've got this and we've got that, and so it's embarrassing to say, but I tell and I'm not I'm shy to say this, we still have a box TV, the old box TV. We don't have DSTV, and I tell the kids straight, this is what we have. Yes, we still have a look at his face.
Our technicians is in shock. Zach is in shock.
You also have a box TV. No, it works. I don't even have a flat screen. We don't even have a flat screen. We don't watch TV. And in the end of the day, so I tell them that we have a box TV. They don't believe me. I said, I'm telling you now, we have a box TV, and this is what we've got, and that's what it is, and wow, and then they laugh at me, like I said, but we're not TV watchers. We don't watch, Netflix. I must admit, the Olympics is coming up, so it would be great to watch. I'm a great sports fan.
Listeners, Veronika swims the mid-mile mile.
Yeah, I used to. No, not anymore. Yeah, no, you can. No, not anymore. But so it, those kind of things where you can stand up and say, this is what we've got, so don't feel.
Do you're talking about TV. A few years ago, maybe you'll remember the child who came out number one for matric, Aubrey Montgomery from, I think, New West Secondary.
With the candles.
Yes.
Yes.
He had no television in his house. We did a whole show with his dad and him.
With candles, didn't he study with candles?
And it was, also
I use him as an example with my learners all the time, because when there was load shedding, they say, oh man, but how can I study? We didn't have, and then I tell them about his story. I think he had 4 A's, wasn't it? Or something like that.
He performed very well.
Very well.
And in government
dire conditions, was sitting next to a candle. And I mean, a candle is not great. And especially when it's winter. I don't know, have you noticed 6 o'clock tonight and it was dark outside?
But even the mornings when you get up.
Yeah, it's chilly this morning. But, and I tell the kids that story often, and I say, don't come to me with nonsense. Don't come and tell me that you can't.
But think about it when we were growing up. I know times have changed. whether you got an assignment or a test, you still got to wash those dishes, do your chores at
Yes.
home, your routine, whatever,
Yes.
right? Your
Yes.
parents don't want to know. There's no.
That's-
But now we tend to mollycoddle our children. It's. I mean, I don't mean it bad, but like we overlove. Maybe we want to do what we never get, or give what we never have.
I just think we put them in a little showcase, and we don't want them to get hurt, and we don't want them. And then, as I say, then the question is, because when you do challenge this now, and you say, but where's the stuff? Why? Oh no, I'll make sure that my child does X, Y, and Z. But your child needs to be at school to be able to do the work, so that I can see that your child can do the work. Not you see, because you don't know what's going on in the syllabus. I know. I want to see, because I've got to mark a practical. I must be able to see, can this child connect this, do that, do this, blah, blah, blah. You don't know how to do that, So, and then these parents protect their children.
Yeah.
And when I stand up to them, then I'm the wicked person. I'm almost like harassing their child.
But what about, I know educators will probably be nodding their heads
Yes,
right now
I'm
to this
sure
thing.
they do.
What about children who don't submit assessments, and when you inform the parents, whether it's telephonically or by a message or by a note or something, they come down with you as a ton of bricks. My child did it, and I know this, and I gave it. All the teacher wants your child to do it so they can have a mark where the child can pass.
I had a situation at a parents' evening where the child got 2 out of 20 for a test. And I said to the kid, I said, you did not study. He says, very arrogantly, I did. And what I forgot to tell the parents is pretty much that I told the learners what to study. Basically almost per question. And then I just took the report and I said to the parent, and I said, oh, look here. All the marks were below 50. And I said, oh, look here. He's got this mark, 34 for this, but he studied. He's got 42 for that. Oh, he studied. And then I took the report and I showed the grade position. And I said, oh, look, almost at the back. But no, he studied. So because I got cross with a child that was so obnoxious towards me and telling me that he studied. And in the end, the mom just looked at me and like in shock. And I said, oh, no, he studied.
You know what parents fail to understand? No teacher hates your child.
No.
Okay, maybe 1 in a million.
No, not even that. No.
It's like no one victimizes your child.
No,
they just want
never.
your child to do their work. Because that teacher is also a mother, someone's wife, someone's
that.
husband, someone's spouse.
Not that. We would really love to have 100% pass rate.
Yeah.
And I work extremely hard to get 100% pass rate. Listen, I have kids that are very cross. I go and lock my gate so that they don't leave, so that I can get them to do the work. And then I will sit there and I'll email the parents and say, your child's in my class because X, Y, and Z. Or I'll say to the parent, your child hasn't done the work. Your child needs to be there. I want the work to be, or the child must sit. Then I go call the child and I lock the gate until that work's done. But you know what's the funny thing about all of this? So you know the wicked person because you are standing up.
Big
You
bad
are
witch.
taking a stand and you are cruel according to them. And I get sworn at sometimes, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the year, when they pass this subject, then it's the child that's so great and not you. Meantime, you've like tried your best and have got like 20 million emails that you've now written to these parents to state, but little Peter Pan didn't do this and this and this. What then? You know what I mean? Then now the child is brilliant and it's you nothing, And quite often these children don't even have the decency to come and say, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate.
That's something which is out the door. Gratitude.
Gone.
I mean, even empathy.
And we don't necessarily want the gifts. I don't want the gifts. What I want is...
You don't get gifts.
No. I do sometimes get. But all I want is just that, thank you. Thank you for your effort. And or I don't want a parent, when I'm standing up and I'm taking a stand because I'm trying to get this child to pass, I don't want the father or the mother to attack me when I'm saying to a parent, listen, I'm not, and I'm most probably the only teacher doing it, and therefore I look as though I'm victimizing the child.
The big bad wolf.
Yes. And because I don't want 100%, I want 100% pass rate in my subject. And I work very hard to get that 100%. And I, by hook, well, not by hook and by crook, but by all means will I put all measures, all detentions, all break duties, whatever detentions, I will do to get that. But when I stand up like that, you are now seen as the wicked person, you know, and she's got the kids in the class again, you know, and the kids, you know. So yeah, I don't know, but I don't have an issue with that. So for standing up for that, and I say to the parents, please understand, it's nothing personal. I love your child to bits, but you must understand that I want your child to pass, and we're all on the same page. You're on the same page as what I am. You don't know what your child is doing. Your child's telling you a story. The child is telling me a story, and I'm not happy with the story or I'm not happy with the results that I'm getting. So just as an educator there, standing up and taking charge quite often. And you know, as the kids get older, the grade 11s and 12s, the arrogance gets worse.
The attitude, the hormones.
They ignore, they look you up and down like, what's your problem?
But we have that even in primary schools.
Is it?
And it's like, no, the child needs love. No, that it's you, the educator, is the problem. You know, but everything is looked so differently. So should you just go to work, do your work like any other job, and come home? That's the attitude with lots of educators who,
I think, because in the end of the day, you need to go home a whole person, and you don't give 99% of yourself at school and take 1% home to give that 1% to your family, because many educators, when they go home, they still have the family to look after. Many women go home and cook and look after the children
and do schoolwork
and mark weekends, sit and mark and set up exam papers and prepare and do whatever it is that they need to do, and prepare for this or prepare for a show or this or that. So it's very difficult to stand up at any given time, because the energy that you project, it just takes so much out of you. And quite often, as we said in the beginning, when you're standing there on your own, it's very difficult, and you don't have that support, and it's a very lonely place there at the top, you know. And quite often, I must be quite honest, you know, even although I don't like saying this, but I feel very sorry for headmasters quite often.
True.
Because they're on their own,
you
know, and they have to take the punch, you know, and I wonder what their blood pressures are like, you know, because and that's a position I never wanted, and I must be quite honest, I've never wanted to be a headmaster, because I've never aspired to become a headmaster, but I think it's a very lonely place, and I think that their responsibilities and them having to take charge quite often, you know, then they're working not with just the children, but the staff as well, you know. So it's very difficult.
The most difficult thing is dealing with human resources, dealing with a human being, you know, when you have to manage them, it's not easy. It's not easy. And that's a task which a true leader has. They know how.
You know, sometimes I must also say to you, when you like hectic and just the wrong tone, sometimes just speaking in the wrong tone, like you're frustrated. And then, but quite often when a class walks in, I will say, listen, I'm having a tough day. Please just calm down this lesson. I need you to calm down. It's been a tough day. Just chill. You know, so I feel, but I've learned that over the years. I warn the class, I pre-warn so that I don't need to shout.
Parting words to our parents, educators, learners, and just the person out there about standing up.
Be true to yourself.
Be true to yourself.
If that's what you believe, that's what you believe.
You know what? If you fear the Almighty, if you believe in the Almighty, you will be true to yourself, and you will stand for what is absolutely right and correct. We need to, you know, encourage our children. Well, I'd like to thank our guests for taking the time to be here with us. Looking forward to having you again, and all the best for the exams.
Thank you, Sumaya.
I'd also like to thank our technician, Zach, for making this show possible. Veronika, everyone knows now you got a box TV.
Yes, it's fine.
But you do so much.
I love my box TV. I think it's just so phenomenal that this thing is still lasting.
Yeah. Well, my email address is sumayakhan.alansar@outlook.com. Well, don't be afraid to stand for what you believe in, even if that means standing alone. We have to stand up for what we believe in, even when we might not be popular for it. Honesty starts with being ourselves, authentic and true to who we are and what we believe in. And that may not always be popular, but it will always let you follow your dreams and your heart. Assalamu alaikum.
This hadith is sponsored by Ashraful Aid, International Humanitarian Organization.
حديث أدي قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الصلاة عماد الدين. Salah is a pillar of deen. Salah is the most important form of ibadah. When we perform our salah, we are showing our obedience to our Creator. Salah is the key to Jannah.
This hadith is sponsored by Ashraful Aid, International Humanitarian Organization.
Are you looking for a meaningful way to fulfill your zakat obligation? Look no further than Ashraful Aid. With our trusted track record, your zakat reaches those who need it the most in the most honorable and dignified manner. Visit our website at www.ashrafulaid.org.
An informative Islamic global perspective. This is Al Ansar News.